Awesome. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Face the Truth podcast. I'm really excited about this one. I absolutely love this dude's comedy. I met him briefly when I was in LA in September. I don't know if he remembers that. We can talk about that in a bit. But
I remember.
You do? You remember? Okay. So anyways, everyone, please welcome Craig Conant. Thanks for joining, man.
Hey, man. Sorry, I fucked up everything. Hey, dude. Yeah. Here I am, though. I was supposed to tell him what happened. I was supposed to talk to you an hour ago, 2 o'clock. See the different. Hey, man. I ain't gonna lie. You bamboozled me, bro. I thought you said, hey, you want to be on your podcast? I was like, yeah, of course. And then I was like, give me an address and a time. And then you're like, you got to Skype me. I was like, wait a minute. I'm just kidding. But we're
you thought it was in
time
LA.
Zones. I thought you were in LA, and I thought I was going to come to your studio or house or whatever. And then I said 2 p.m. I was like, 2 p.m. And then you're like, all right, cool, 4 p.m. my time. And I was like, yes. But then my brain just went 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And then he messages me like, hey, do we need to reschedule? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You said 4, dude. And then I'm like, oh, I'm 6 years sober and I still fuck shit up this bad all the time.
Well, it's like what? That's when you said you were going to be in Milwaukee, and I was like, man, too bad I didn't know sooner. I would have went and saw you. Did you think I was gonna fucking fly from LA to Milwaukee?
I don't know. I have no idea, man. Oh, dude, this homeless guy's coming up to me. Look at this. Ready? Hey, what's up, bro?
The Walking Dead there, man.
I actually gave him a tin can of roaches once when I was a stoner. I don't know what his deal is, but I think he has. My sister lives right here. I came to my car because she has 2 kids, and I didn't, that would have been chaos. A 2-year-old and a 10-month-old. Anyways, he lives down the block, and I think he has money and nobody because this is a nice area. It's Torrance, West Torrance. It's like upper middle class or whatever. It's just or middle, just nice. Anyways, he's always outside that house. Always smoking weed, asking for weed. He has he looks homeless, but he's not. He's a little mentally ill. And anyways, one time I gave him a bunch of weed, and I don't know if he remembers that. That was like 7 years ago, but there he was. This is weird, but dude, he walked by.
Dude, I'm sure it's every time I take my dog for a walk and he sees a rabbit somewhere, he never forgets the spot that he saw that rabbit. So I'm sure that guy's like, dude, I remember that guy.
He gave me weed.
Like 7 years ago.
That was my MO. I used to smoke a shit ton of weed, save the roaches for a rainy day, but I also was selling weed, so I never really ran out of weed. But then I would save them in Altoid cans, fill up the Altoid can, and then give it to a homeless dude. I would ask first.
Yeah.
Polite. And 99.9% of them, their faces lit up like it was a block of gold. They're like, wow, thanks, man.
That's awesome. It's like, it's a pretty big disappointment if someone wants a breath mint and you hand them one of those, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Want some skunk breath?
I want roach teeth.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So you actually do remember me from that one
outside
night?
the comedy store. You said, I'm going to try stand up, but I'm scared. I'm a pussy. I don't want it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I think I say what I always say. I said, you're going to die someday. Go do that shit. Did I say that?
So, well, here, the funniest thing about it was, I have been doing it. I love it. It's so much fun. But the reason I got into it was because I had Steve Byrne on my podcast like 6 months or so ago, and we were talking about comedy and everything, and how I've been, I write on the side. I just love comedy. I've always wanted to get up and do it, but I just never did it. But I write. I have ideas all the time, that sort of a thing. And he was just like, dude, you just got to do it. And he goes, and I've never done stand-up before at this point. He goes, hey, I got a show 6 months from now in Chicago at the Chicago Improv. I want you to open for 5 minutes for me. And I was like, yeah, right, you're joking. But then he was like, no, I'm not joking. So I took it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take that challenge.
Yeah.
So never doing stand-up before, I went to like 3 Kill Tony shows, hoping I'd get picked when they came to Chicago, and then I went to 2 Kill Tony shows. Then I went to one at the Comedy Store that night. But basically, I spent like the last 5-6 months just writing and writing and writing, doing open mics, just jumping into it, trying to prepare 5 solid minutes, and I realized how fucking hard it is
to write. Insane.
Like, it's insane. But I had a blast, and I actually did it. I did 5 minutes the first night, and it was crazy because it was you know the difference between open mics with the open micers
and Steve Burns, a OG fucking gangster. I'm sure he sold out his shows and it was fire. So yeah.
Well, the crazy thing was that was my first time doing. I only did open mics 3 times or 4 times before I was able to. Before I ended up opening for him, maybe 4 times, and so I felt really good about my material. But the funny thing was the week before I would have the show, I did it and I didn't bomb, but it was at an open mic in Chicago where it was just a bunch of dudes all waiting to get up and nobody was laughing at anything.
Well, yeah, 9 out of 10 open mics you're gonna bomb. It's because it's exactly that. It's comics waiting to get up, not listening.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't make somebody laugh that's not even listening. It's impossible.
Yeah. So that was the last taste in my mouth before I opened up for Steve Byrne. Like not even a week later, and I was like, oh shit. So I go there, and it's the first time ever performing in a real club, packed place. I never even met him in person yet. I get there, he's not there. There's other comics that are doing time after me, like, who the fuck are you? And it was like really like, kind of. Then I told them what was going on, and they're like, what the fuck? This is crazy. So, anyways, he finally shows up. He's like, you excited, man? Just have fun, you know? So, but anyways, before I even continue with that, I had JD Witherspoon on as well, my podcast, and we talked about comedy and stuff like that. And so he met with me, and that's when you showed up, and I was telling him about what I was doing with Steve Byrne, and then he told you, and this is what you said. You go, "Oh, you're gonna fucking bomb, dude."
Yeah, that sounds like something I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, and you guys started laughing, and then he was like, kind of hit me, and you guys were so encouraging. I felt like, oh shit, man, I am gonna bomb, man. But then I remember what I told you guys is I'm not gonna bomb because I'm gonna,
So did you bomb?
No, I actually did really well.
I want proof. I'm just kidding.
No, I really did.
The crazy, I swear to God, your first set in front of a real audience, like you kill. It's crazy. It's like it's keeping going, and it's a sustainability thing.
What happened was he, I was, of course I was terrified. It was like, but I knew my material, man. I worked on it for so long, and I'm even since then I'm still developing. I have a whole much more material now, but I just was like working it. So I knew it inside and out. I got up there within 5 to 10 seconds. I got my first huge laugh, and I was like, "Whoa, dude!" And I felt so good. And I just went through my stuff. And the thing is I had a really good talk with Kevin Nealon before that. I shared my stuff with him because he's like getting into drawing a lot and stuff, and so I was critiquing some of his drawings, and then I asked if I could send him some of my writing, and he looked at it and he gave me like a couple pointers. He just said, "Hey, this one part, just switch these 2 words. It'll be way funnier." And I'm like, "Okay, good idea." And then he said, "And just slow down and just wait for the laughs." And so like when I got up there, that really stuck with me. And so after I said something, I wait for the laugh a little bit. I get it, and I just kind of ride that laugh wave, and then I go into my next bit, and it worked, dude. And I had 5 minutes. The whole time I got laughs. I got off, and I was like, "It's the best feeling in the world."
It's the best
dude,
drug
it was awesome.
On planet Earth, best high, best everything.
Oh, dude. And Steve came back, and I was like in the green room, and I was like, "Did you see that? Did you see?" And he goes, "Give me this look." He goes, "Not bad." And he goes, "You know what? Next time, I wouldn't open with a masturbation joke, though."
Yeah.
Because he was like, "Next time, let's not do that." And he goes,
put that in the middle or the end, buddy.
and then he goes, then he invited me to do the next 2 nights. So I was like,
so you didn't bomb?
No, I didn't. I told you, dude.
That's the proof. That's the proof, right there.
And I did great the next night. The only thing the next night was a little bit harder because I tried to take his advice and write a new opener, and trying to write a new open in one day was a little.
You just rotate what you had.
Most of my material was about masturbation and Jesus watching you, and
Isn't
like.
It funny how I swear on my life, About 90% of males' first jokes are about masturbation. I swear to God. All of us.
It's funny.
It's funny.
Well, you know what's really interesting about that is that I grew up super religious, and I am totally not anymore. And I have a lot of material about religious stuff that I think it's pretty funny because I have a huge history with it. And so my material is mostly about the religious stuff, but I was mixing masturbation into it because, you know, as a kid I was made to feel so much shame for that. You know what I mean? And so to me, I try. It's a funny way to communicate both sides of things. And it was just fun, man. It's just a lot of fun, you know. But yeah,
it's the best shit ever. It saved my life from fucking drinking and drugs and all that bullshit. And it's the shit. And a lot of people always ask me for advice and on how to do stand up. And like, I'm not just saying this to be mean or crass or whatever. You literally just have to go fucking do it.
Yeah.
That's it. I can't say or do or other than the other thing is most of the time I say, hey man, and I mean this with all my heart. I'm like, you're going to die someday. You want to be on your fucking deathbed regretting never trying it? Or do you want to go shoot your fucking shot? Go take your goddamn shot. Mm-hmm. So you're not, you know, and it's hard. It's so hard. And what's crazy about you is you literally like you cut the line by like 2 to 4 years. I'm not even kidding. Most of the time you have to do most of the time, generally speaking, this is how it goes for stand-up comedy. You do open mics for 2 years, upwards to 6 years, depending on your development and how quick you learn and write and develop material. And then after that, then usually a Steve Byrne or a Bobby Lee or Eliza Schlesinger, Chris D'Elia, then they'll be like, if you just hang around and they know you're like, oh, this kid's cool, he's funny, I'm gonna give him a shot. Yeah. You did that right out the gate, which is insane. So props to you, and that's awesome. That's better. If you cut the line, cut the fucking line. Who wants to wait in line? It's miserable. Open mics are miserable.
Yeah.
I know a lot of funny people that just quit because it's open mics and they can't get through it's depressing. They're awful. They're fucking awful. Unless, if you're in the metropolis cities, if you're at open mics, like I heard about open mics in like Madison, Wisconsin, where people pay to get in and it's sold out. I'm like, I'm used to performing in front of four comics, a barista, and a blender. Like that's Los Angeles open mics. Yeah. That'll make you want to fucking kill yourself. A sold out open mic in middle America. Yeah. And you're in a perfect place. Where are you from?
Chicago.
Oh, that's perfect. My dear friend Laura Bites started in Chicago. She did like 7 years there and then moved to Los Angeles. Boom. She developed in a nice comedy scene, but it's not New York and it's not Los Angeles. Yeah. So she came to LA, undeniably talented, you know, but you gotta hone your craft. You gotta will it down. You gotta sharpen your shit. So she came in sharp as shit. Boom, clicked up with Judd Apatow. Boom, clicked up with Pete Holmes. Boom, got passed at the Comedy Store. This is, you know, everyone thought like, who's this new girl? But she's new to LA. She just sharpened the shit out of that spear and just came in.
That's awesome.
Guns blazing and burned the goddamn shit down. Yeah. And that is where, if in an ideal perfect scenario, that's what I recommend comedians to do. Develop in a nice scene like Chicago or Detroit or even Arizona, Phoenix and Scott. They have like 6 clubs. You get a lot of stage time. If you develop in New York or Los Angeles, you're getting a lot of stage time, but you're not sharp yet, and you're performing where you need to be sharp. You know?
That makes sense.
And that's fortunately and unfortunately, that's where I start. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, so I didn't really have a choice. But then, you know, like if Steve Burns see you early on in your career, it's in his memory. Like, oh, this guy's a new booty. Even though it's been 6 years later, his first impression of you is blah.
Man, I just feel grateful, man. I'm shocked that he did that. I don't even know why he did that. But the cool thing was afterwards, he wrote me a nice email and said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna keep you in mind for future stuff." Because he was like, "Keep doing what you're doing." And he told me, how he said that? He basically said, "You got balls." he was like that. You did awesome for never doing it before. And so my plan is basically right up to that point until now, I got slammed with like just insane, because what I do for a living, obviously I paint and illustrate and stuff. And I got slammed with some crazy jobs, which was good, but I have had no time. I've been working like 16-hour days basically since before Christmas until now.
God damn.
But as soon as I'm done with these jobs, I'm going to be hitting open mics again, just once, twice a week, maybe. I got a family and everything. It's kind of like something my wife's like, okay, like, yeah, go have your fun time, you know. But like, I just really love doing it. And the thing about Chicago that I'm trying to figure out is, again, like, I know I've got to do the open mics. And I've got, the cool thing about this experience is I feel like it's okay for me to go to open mics and just experiment and try out new ideas.
Yeah, open mics. My buddy gave me the best analogy ever, and I use it till this day. His name's Tamer Katan. He's a very funny, good comedian. He said open mics is like a push-up. It's just a rep. It's just a fucking rep. You do your push-ups to develop your muscle to where when you do get to the arena, the cage fight, whatever, the octagon, you're ready. You're strong.
Yeah,
so it's just a push-up to gain strength. So when you do get the Steve Byrne opportunities, you're like, oh, I just did open mics in front of blenders. You know, this is nothing.
Yeah.
And my a buddy of mine, OG veteran Sam Tripoli, he also said some words of wisdom to me. He said, the bigger the gig, the easier it is. And that took me years to believe, but he's right.
Yeah.
A sold out show with Chris D'Elia that I opened for, my buddy, his fans are fanatics. They're fun. They're ready to laugh.
Yeah.
It's easy. Even though it's 2,000 people sold out theater, it's terrifying. They all want the same thing. They are there for comedy and they want to laugh. Now you go to a comedy cafe and people are eating and they don't even know comedy's going, like, that's hard. That's insane. That's impossible. But you know, you do those shit gigs to get undeniable and impenetrable and also not give a fuck, to where like, that's where you just mess around. And then you develop your muscle, you get your skills, and then you get the big opportunities with Steve Byrne or Chris, and then you're sharp and you're ready, and then you're like, oh, this is easy, you know, this, because they're here for comedy.
That's the feeling I got. Yeah, like I felt like when I did the Steve Byrne thing, I mean, everyone was there to have a good time and to laugh, you know. And it was really like I started feeling like I was reading them, and like I felt like in control of the like I'm gonna make you guys laugh now, and like I would, you know what I mean? It just felt that good. But then you know, at the open mics I've been to, like one of them I went to, and it was just all dudes in an Irish bar, and they're all sitting there with their notebooks. And I don't have notebooks. I have it all like I do it in my head, and I prepared and everything. And so I'm looking at them. Everyone's just sitting there like writing and stuff. And it seemed like everybody knew everybody, because as soon as someone came in, hey man, high fives, all this kind of stuff. When I go up there, all of a sudden everyone goes to the bar and starts ordering drinks. And
because they didn't know you. It's true.
Yeah,
it's
and
like
I'm just
it's like a frat or high school. It's very cliquish. If they don't know you, they're like, who's this fucking wahoo?
Yeah.
But a good thing about being a new guy, if you are funny, you're like, oh, this new kid's funny, unless they're fucking haters. And there's some crabby haters out there, but just stay away from them.
Oh yeah. No, I can definitely. There's that's one thing about the comedy too, is there's a lot of people. I think a lot of cynical people too.
There's a lot of bitter beer faces, brother. I just steer clear of them. Go to the positive Pete's in the corner. It's like, this shit's hard enough, dude. You don't need to fucking. There's no need to have enemies. All right, guys.
Yeah. No, it's just. I'm the fun thing about, for me personally, is I've lived a crazy life already. I've got 3 daughters. Number 4 is on the way. I've got a lot of, like, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't care. Like, so I feel like I'm just gonna write what makes me laugh, and just
that's a
hang
great
out.
Place to be.
Yeah, I don't really care what people think about me, you know. So it's like, for me, it's just fun. I went to my first open mic ever. I was super, super nervous, but I was like, I got to go do this because it's only a few months before I do this thing with Steve Byrne. And I, since that one, I changed my 5 minutes. I didn't bomb though, my first time. I just realized when I did it that the material was really kind of almost aggressive. And people were laughing, but a lot of people were also like, damn. Cause I was like, I kind of just, it was like a whole thing about abortion and and basically it was a joke about believing again pulling religion into it, but basically like believing like if you believe this and this and this about this religion, but then you say this and this about abortion, you don't have the right to say what you're saying about abortion if you believe this other thing, because it's stupid. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like in that genre where I was basically it was a pretty heavy. I only had 4 minutes, and I got laughs, but I realized from that experience that I was just like, okay, that was probably way too much information in that amount of time. It needs to be something in the middle of something, like later down the line, like what I mean? Not something you just slam them.
In my opinion, if you're starting out, keep in mind, take it like a grain of salt. I don't even know what that saying means, but I know what it means. Like, just there are no rules to comedy. You could do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, in my opinion, I always think you should keep it personal.
Yeah.
And talk about you and your life and your story. You just said you had a crazy life, like mine. In those caves, for those gems of truth from your childhood, your religion, your daughters, your whatever. Because if you're going to do topical bits on Uber, guess what? There's guys like Bill Burr and John Mulaney that are 25 years in the game that are going to have a bit about Uber that's going to be 50 million times better than yours. And that's why in new people, I'm just like, okay, sure, you can do observational comedy. You can. But there's also Jerry Seinfeld that's doing it. So good luck. You know? So that's why I immediately out the gate, I'm actually kind of scared of observational humor, but some guys are really good at it. So if you're good at it, you're good at it. But I'm just saying, I talk about my personal truths because nobody can talk about seeing their cousin's vagina like I can. You know, that's my story. No one can. And if anybody steals that, like, that's Craig's bit, But if you write a bit about Uber and that guy writes a bit about Uber, you literally could have the same like-minded thoughts, and it's nobody's fault and nobody stole, and that happens all the time.
That's basically been my approach with this whole thing. Is I only like that's one reason why I really love your comedy is that like you're a really good storyteller, which is I think. That's one of my favorite.
That's
Richard
one of
my favorite. Yeah, exactly.
The OG gangster that started all this shit.
Yeah,
he's the best storyteller ever. He's my favorite. I just try to do what he did and with my shit, with my story.
Yeah, and that's what I was sticking to is like, hey, everything I'm gonna say is gonna be real to me. I'm not gonna make shit up. It's all gonna be real, and it's already funny already. These things. Before I even start writing, they're already funny things. Like my vasectomy, it's fucking hilarious, and so I just have to talk. And then I got a reversal because I met someone else that wanted a baby, and we had a reversal. So I had to get snip snap twice. So like there's so much.
That's good comedy.
Yeah, so there's all that kind of stuff that I'm like pulling from because I feel like I can't stand sometimes the comedy that feels like. Like we said, it's just like it's talking about how pepperonis on a pizza will remind you of nipples or whatever. It's like I can't make up. I guess it feels like it's like you're just making stuff up. You're just trying to pull something out to be funny. I think it helps when it's more something that actually means something to you. Like your whole that mushroom story. That you tell is like one of the funniest things ever, man. Just even like there's little things like I watched it a bunch of times, just watching how you're delivering your lines, and I love it because it sounds like you're saying it for the first time.
You know what's crazy? I'm trying to hang this phone because my arm's getting tired. But that story is 99.9% true, and also that was like. My fourth time telling it because it's something weird about when telling stories. The more you tell it, it's kind of starts to not be that good, dude. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like I just told that story about a half dozen times, maybe 10 times, and then I was like, all right, I'm done because like I can't keep. It gets old. I got it. I did it. It's hanging now.
Awesome.
The part that I made up was the end. We did not crash into a highway patrol car.
Yeah.
But I kept ending it the first times with like, that's it. And then I was like, that's not a good ending, you know, like just to say, we drove home. And like, you know, like it had no, I don't like that I lied to the audience. I swear to God, because every other detail was true. Every other single, and I actually left some stuff out. So actually, I also, it was 6 minutes long. I didn't know how long, you know, but my buddy Adam Hoover, he makes bongs. He makes bongs like $10,000 bongs, spaceship bongs, look like a Nike boot, you know, Jordan, like crazy Wolverine bongs that sell for $9,000 that he spent 59 hours, whatever. Crazy shit. So he made a dope bong, like 2-3 feet. He brought it. And we actually set that down. And when the park ranger was going to kick us out, it was behind like this big rock. And we were hiding it, like kind of like nervous kids in school, like hiding something behind them. Like, oh, this, you know, like literally shuffling our feet, which is just a laughable. It reminded me of Little Rascals. Like, there's nothing behind us. And we kept. And then, so when we parked, and the cop came, and then he said, you know, we all said something different, and he started laughing at us. And then he drove up, harassed us after we got kicked out. This is the real cop, highway patrol cop. Then he drove off and just left us alone. So when he drove off, my buddies went back into the campsite. We're all on mushrooms, dude. Do you know how scary it is to be on mushrooms, to get kicked out of a campsite, wilderness, bushes, dark, no flashlights? This was a long time ago. There was no flashlights on our fucking phones. This was like 8, 9 years, 10 years ago. I don't even know. It was a long time ago. Yeah. And then so they're sneaking back in to the campsite to recover this bong that the highway patrol didn't see and just kicked us out, and we had to leave, and we couldn't exactly say like, hang on, sir, let me grab this 3-foot glass bong and pack it up real quick. Because this is also shit. Actually, we were 20. So this was 15 years ago. So this is when weed was not legal. Okay. I mean, it was like legal this much, like just it wasn't like now. So weed's illegal, bong's illegal, and they're also super expensive. And so they sneak back into the campsite and break back in, crawling through the darkness and wilderness with no fucking flashlights to get the $300, $400, $500 bong back. And we're on mushrooms, they're on mushrooms. So now me and my other buddies are just chilling. But we're just chilling, and then we're killing time, so we start smoking more hash. And then we forget that they went back in there, you know? And then they're gone for what is probably legitimately like 30, 40 minutes, but when you're on mushrooms, it feels like 9 days, you know? Okay. So then we forgot about them. And then we heard like rustling through the bushes. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they popped back up with the bong in hand. We're like, oh my God, we forgot about you. You did it. And also we were terrified because we thought they were a fucking bear or a wolf, even though there is no bears and wolves in Malibu. But you know, when you're on mushrooms, just like that, and then they confiscated the bong. They got the bong back, and then we all smoked even more hash, and then we drove home, and then we got away with it. So that's the complete truth of that whole shit.
See, that's great though. That's what's awesome about your. I mean, I think the first thing I literally saw of your stuff was the whole Trader Joe's story, and I literally was like, one of the things I love to do while I'm working my deadlines is I listen to podcasts. I also like to just like type up stand-up comedy and just and I got into this Laugh Factory stuff, and I was like, oh, so, you know, some of them were good. And I'm like, I'm just gonna play the list, and then your thing popped on, and yours was like one that stuck in my head because first of all, I don't laugh very often when I'm listening to comedy unless it's like really fucking funny. I'm mostly just like listening to it, just trying to like understand it a little bit. You know, where's the punch, the setup, the punch, and all that kind of stuff. I'm just paying attention to it. But like your storytelling was so like raw feeling, where I'm like, I felt like I was hanging out with a buddy, and he's just telling me this hilarious story. And I didn't forget it. And then like maybe not even 2 weeks later, I had to go to Pasadena for this work thing. And then I let JD know I was going to be there. And that's when you showed up. I'm like, hey, dude, you're the Joe dude.
That's some synchronicity right
It was
there,
like,
baby.
it was like crazy. I'm like, cause I just literally, I'm like, oh, that's that dude. But yeah, man, I really, really love the way that's one of the things I was going to ask you about is with your process, because just like you're obviously into the storytelling thing. You said like, you don't want to be topical, but like sometimes do you ever pull in, like for example, this new Gwyneth Paltrow vagina scent candle? I mean, comics got to be like coming up with shit with that right away.
Yeah,
But
I'm always late to the party. I don't pay attention. I literally see about 50 jokes on the internet, like, what's happening? And then I go, oh, Gwyneth
yeah,
Paltrow's pussy candle or whatever the fuck. And then I go, I'm too late. And that's what happens about 99.9% of the time, all the time,
yeah,
every time. Yeah, I just, I'm not quick enough with it. It's like becomes work for me. I don't like it. And also back to that, like, all right, if I do come up with something good, did somebody else come up with the same good shit? And now I'm like, fuck. Now
yeah.
I look like a thief, or they look like a thief.
I'm the one that
Which
came up
also
with
does thieves do exist, but a
Oh
lot of
yeah, yeah,
times with something topical like that, you just come up with the same ideas.
yeah.
Like it's not theft at all. It
What's
just
that
is.
smell, man? Oh, that's George Clooney's taint candle.
Yeah.
It's awesome, dude. Yeah, it's. I mean, that's one thing that I definitely. I mean, like I got to hang out with Jeremiah Watkins about a week ago. He came to Chicago and he played at Zany's, and we were hanging out afterwards talking about comedy stuff um, and man, and I'm sure you've seen him before, but he's
He's my
like one of
buddy.
those.
I know him well. Yeah.
Yeah, like one of those, like just how quickly he's with the crowd and just flows and like just goes off of his set completely and just comes up with a whole new thing right there on the spot. And it was hilarious. I was just so impressed with just that. I mean, that's some season. Like I was telling him, I'm all excited about this. This is something I'm doing for me. It's not for anybody else but for me. But I feel like a newborn, you know what I mean? Like I'm so fresh.
I met Jeremiah at the Second City in Hollywood about I don't even know, like 9 years ago now. Fuck, maybe 10. We're getting old. I was doing improv before stand-up because I was scared and I was a pussy because stand-up is terrifying. And improv, you're on a team, and I met him there, and he was doing stand-up, and he was doing he was always doing both. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow. And then so that's why he's so quick, witty. Well, there's lots of comics that can do that, but he has a improv training but he's just good. He's good at it. And I have improv training too, but I can be good at it. He'll dive into it where I'm like, let me deal with this. Then I'm back to my shit. He'll just dive in. I'm like, I'm still scared of that. And I've been doing this a fucking minute, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like there's a safety blanket of doing your jokes.
Yeah.
I'll absolutely address crowd work and do it when necessary. Hecklers and a server drops a tray of drinks. Obviously, you need to stop your act and talk about that. If you don't, they're going to think you're a fucking robot and hate your guts.
Yeah. That's true.
So, yeah, of course, I adapt in that sense. But some of these guys just do crowd work for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Chris D'Elia, my buddy. One time he was running his hour at Cobb's Comedy Club and he did like 6 or 7 shows and sold it. What happens is you get scheduled for like 5 shows and you sell those out when you're like him, and then they keep adding a show and you sell that out and add a show. So he ended up doing like 8 shows or some shit. And by the last show, he had forgotten, because you do your hour so much, you forget. It's like deja vu. You're like, where am I in this set? And I'll never forget this. He's like, did I do this part? Did I do that part? And he just went, fuck it. And he just did crowd work for like 30 minutes and closed it out and burned the goddamn building down. And I was like, if that would have happened to me, I would have been like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm dead. And he ended up murdering the fucking harder with the crowd work. And I was just like, God damn, bro. That shit's crazy.
He's awesome, man. I saw him last year for Christmas. My wife got me Tom Segura, and Chris D'Elia tickets at the Chicago theater.
Yeah.
So I went to see him. It was like, I think in March or something like that. Yeah, and he killed it, man. He had that opener, Brian or Matt, we had to talk about the jerk off towels or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? You know who that is, right?
Yeah, he's one of my best friends, Michael
Okay.
Lenoche. I wanted to see you talk about him.
I couldn't remember exactly what his name was, but I remember the jerk off towel thing. But yeah, he opened up and he was hilarious. The dick towel. Yeah. But it was an awesome show, man.
I just got the biggest kick out of it because I wanted to hear how you were going to describe him.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, it was just funny. He came out, and to be honest, like it's funny because I've been like a fan of comedy my whole life, but I never really got to go to any shows. And every time I go to New York, a buddy of mine, I try to go to the Comedy Cellar and stuff, but it's always never worked out. And in 2016 was the first time I actually got to go to a real show, and I saw Louis C.K. And he killed. It was just insane how good it was. But he had openers that I was just like, oh, how did they get this gig? I did not get it. I just thought they were so terrible. It was boring. Everyone was just like, when is he going to come on? Because it was just like, so when your friend opened for Chris D'Elia, it was awesome because he came out and he was really funny. And it was like, oh man, it's like bonus show. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Same thing though with Tom Segura. When I saw him, I can't remember the guy that opened for him.
What did he look like?
He was like
short kind of black dude.
No. He was like a shorter white guy, kind of had a beard.
Maybe Josh Potter with glasses?
No, it wasn't Josh Potter. I was hoping it was gonna be Josh Potter because I listen to their podcasts all the time. Yeah. I can't remember the guy's name. But it was one of those things too where he was okay, whoever this guy was, but it was just like when you've got like thousands of people there like waiting for Tom Segura and the guy out there is just not.
You got to bring it. You got to bring your. Well, that could be a lot of different things. That guy could just be working on some shit, which is insane to me. Like if you're doing a sold out theater with Segura or D'Elia, you got to bring the heat, baby. I don't care if you've been doing that bit 5, 6, 7 years. You need to crush because those people don't know who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
And they haven't heard those bits. You may get in your head about it, be like, oh, fuck, I'm doing old shit or whatever. But they don't know who you are. So just do the hits, man. Just be there to impress because, but Josh Potter's so funny, dude. He has this bit about how his dad beat him up as if he was just some guy on the street. And I fucking kills me, dude.
Yeah.
No, my buddy Mike, D'Elia told him that too, because there'd be times you get in your head, you're like, fuck, I'm doing the same Trader Joe's jokes, this and that. But Chris was like, dude, they don't know you. They're my fans. Who gives a fuck? You do the fucking hits.
Yeah.
You kill.
Exactly. Yeah.
You kill and you get fans. You don't work on shit on a sold out theater with Segura or D'Elia or,
Yeah.
Like, let me just look at these notes. Like, no, bring the heat.
Yeah, because I can't tell you.
Other people might disagree, but I don't. You experiment in the weird little rooms, the lab, the blah, blah, the open mics. You get theater gigs, you bring the heat, you do the hits.
Well, I mean, like, I remember your friend. I don't remember anybody. The only, let's see. No, I don't remember anyone from the Louis C.K. thing. And what was crazy about that was literally right before all the shit went down with Louis C.K. So I got to see him like one last time.
Yeah.
All this crap happened.
He'll be back.
Oh,
he got did dirty. It's unfortunate. They executed a man when they should have sent him to prison for 2 years.
I was bummed. I found out that he actually showed up this summer at Zany's in Chicago. Like just showed up and did a set. I'm like, what the fuck?
He's been doing little shows here and there, and he's been opening up with. Hey guys, if you ask a woman if you can masturbate in front of them and they say yes, don't do it.
Don't do it. It's never.
Bro, I love him. I don't give a fuck anybody. I say Louis C.K. is a goddamn man.
Yeah, he's one of the best ever.
He's
man.
Dope. He really is.
No, I love it, man.
His bits are so perfect. Like that one bit on him eating. He says, "I'm not he's talking about eating the big dinner. He's like, I'm not finished when I'm full. I'm finished when I hate myself. You know, I'm just like, that's so perfect. And I probably fucked it up, but it's still the gist of it.
Yeah,
It's still
yeah.
perfect. He just captures those moments, because how many of us have eaten to the point to where we hate ourselves? We're like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, one of the things I love about him too is just like, for me, he's so relatable. Like, like everything he says, I'm like, God, it's my life. It's
even that food bit. Even if you're a skinny guy or a fat guy, everybody has done that. Everybody.
Yeah.
You know.
Like like I said, I've got 3 daughters and another one coming, and I'm the kind of, I like to like have fun with my kids and say crazy shit. I have a 16-year-old who just is embarrassed of everything about me, you know, like,
that's the best.
And I love it. I love, like, I try to say the worst dad jokes ever on purpose, because there's nothing better than the look on her face. But one of my favorite things Louis says is when he's like, you know, I really trying really hard to like not swear as much around my kids or anything. You know, but you know, every once in a while, something comes out, you can't help it. Like the other day, I was making my daughter some soup, and I was like, "Here's your fucking soup," you know. And it's like that to me. I'm like, I've done that same kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know? I just love it. I love like the way that he, you know, and he does it in a way. I think part of the magic is you're like, it makes it sound so easy, you know, like how did
that's what people don't understand. The shit he says sounds a lot of comedians say sounds so easy, sounds like they said it for the first time ever, but really they've been writing and working on it for 2 to 10 years.
Oh yeah,
it's insane.
It's impressive, man.
Yeah, he'll write an hour in 2 years, and he's been doing it 30 years, and he's one of the best in the world at it.
Oh yeah,
most everybody else takes 4 to 8 years to write an hour. 1 hour.
Yeah,
years. George Carlin is a famous saying, but he says it takes him 2 years to write 1 hour. And that was one of the greatest comedians on the fucking planet ever to exist.
I mean, it took me like 6 months to come up with 5 minutes that I felt okay with, and I still was like, this is scary.
And then on top of all that, it's like as you run it, you run it and you run it and you run it, which sounds crazy, but you'll say the same joke hundreds of times. Then you go, nah, that's not gonna make the cut. And there's lots, like I've probably written 3 or 4 hours of comedy. Yeah. Most of it, absolute dog shit. Yeah. Horrible. You know, everybody writes hours and hours of material, but most of it, what I'm proud of is probably about 40 minutes. Yeah. Maybe 50, you know.
That's awesome.
I like those bits. I'm not sick of those. Those are true to me, true to myself. I like that. But that's how much, like, you know, Jerry Seinfeld says you write 100 jokes to get 10 good ones. Of the 10 good ones, you get one gold one. So you write 100 jokes to get one. Yeah. That's how crazy this shit is.
You know who impresses me is Jeselnik. Like,
oh yeah, that guy's a man, dude.
Like I've watched his stuff a lot, but his last special I've watched a few times just because I'm like, dude, same thing. Like,
that guy's so good.
Yeah, it's like some of his jokes seem obvious in a way. Like after he says it, you're like, oh, but it's like so brilliant. He's one of the best.
Always hits you with that left hook where you don't see it coming. You think it's going this way, and he's like, bam, over here. You're like, what the fuck?
He's just like that one-liner, just like the bam, bam, bam.
On top of all of that, following or going up before him on the lineup is like an honor because he shits on you. And he'll make fun of you, whether you're me or Chris Rock, Rogan or Delete. It's so funny, dude. I love it. I love it. Like, he'll follow Sebastian Maniscalco, that is one of the best comedians in the world and just sold out the fucking Madison Square Garden. 4 shows. He sold out the Bulls arena. It was like 30,000. The guy's insane. So Sebastian and him, and then he'll get up there. You're like, you thought that was good. You haven't seen nothing yet. And then he boom, and you immediately, it's just so funny because that's his persona, that's his character. Him and Sebastian are buddies. It's not a shot. It's just like, it's just fun. It's so fucking funny. Just like to say that about an elitist comic on the planet, be like, you haven't seen nothing yet. It's so funny. And he's a really nice dude. He's treated me to food and drinks and shit. Well, soda waters. I'm sober, but yeah. But he's a good dude.
How is it being that you're sober? Well, one, hanging out in the comedy clubs because everyone's drinking all the time and smoking weed and shit. I've heard like the comedy store is like a weed, like everyone gets their weed there.
There's a lot of weed there, but that's in the back. There's certain areas, like there's like the weed area. I just don't go to the.
It seems like people people probably respect, your.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone is either getting fucked up or sober.
Yeah.
It needs to be sober or sober. Not really, but I'm just fortunate. Like my buddies that I clicked up with, like I'm very good friends with Chris D'Elia, and he lets me open from. He's sober, but not even like in my way. He just never did shit. So I don't have to worry about that. And then like Bobby Lee is sober. I open for him sometimes. Brian Callen's my buddy, but he doesn't drink, and he has like a beer. It's not like he has a glass of wine at dinner. It's not like like all the people I hang out with don't really party. Like if I were to hang out with partiers like Bert Kreischer, Dave Chappelle, and they're like, "Are you gonna open for me?" Yeah, that's I'm sorry, I'm 6 years sober. That's going to be, if Dave Chappelle wants to smoke weed and get a beer, I'm probably gonna do it. He's not the type of guy to peer pressure me at all. I'm just saying, like, I'll hate myself if I'm like, you didn't smoke hash with Chappelle, like, you know, that's not like, I'll ruin my sobriety for that fool. That's how much of a legend he is, it is what it is. Like, I know that might be unpopular opinion, but it's like, it's fucking the king, man. I mean, tell me I'm not gonna smoke a little dope with the king. I'm just fortunate, like the juggernauts I hang out with, like D'Elia and shit, they don't partake, so it's not hard for me at all.
Yeah, I mean it's something that I don't understand it that much. I mean, I've never done drugs. I've smoked weed a couple times, but that's not really my thing. But I do drink wine. Quite a bit. It's like that's my go-to, but I mean I also don't have to drink it. Like I can, you know what I mean? But
you're what we call a normie. You're normal. You can just have a glass here and there. I like to get fucked up.
Well, I like that as well sometimes, like socially and everything. But I mean like I heard Bobby Lee being pretty open about his whole thing because recently he had like a setback and everything.
Yeah, but he was sober like I forgot 17 years. 17 years.
Yeah.
Like a long time. Yeah. That one fucking got me. I was like, damn. Because once somebody hits like a decade, you're like, oh, they're safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things where the most important thing when it comes to that is just knowing yourself enough to be, I mean, like nobody's going to be perfect. Everyone's going to have, their trials and the things that bring them down. But the cool thing about someone like Bobby Lee and someone like you, I think, is like, yeah, you know that there's a chance that you might fuck up, but at the same time, you're like, you got to have the strength to move past it, move beyond, and don't let that fuck up bring you down to a point where you're going to just let it just destroy you. You know what I mean? I mean, you said 7 years you've been sober?
6 years. I'll be 7 years August 10th.
I mean, that takes a lot of strength already right there. So, I mean, just don't hang out with Chappelle and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Did you see his Mark Twain thing?
No, I need to watch it. Everybody's talking about it.
Because Aziz basically said the same thing. Like he was hanging out with him the night he found out he was going to be awarded the Mark Twain. And he's like, I want you to do some mushrooms with me. And Aziz was like, no, man, I can't do it. He's like, I got this thing going on and all this kind of stuff. And something like, I just can't. And he goes, you're telling me that when your grandfather one day and your kids asked, when you had the opportunity to do mushrooms with Dave Chappelle and you said, no, you got other things to do. That's what you're going to tell them? Or are you going to tell them?
That's what I mean. I'm going to fucking do the mushrooms, bro. I'll go buy the mushrooms. No problem, Dave. Be right back. I still know all my old homies. I get them real quick.
That's awesome. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, that was awesome. Before we go too long here, I do have somebody that a fan. He's also an artist and a friend of mine who is starting to get into comedy as well, and he sent me a message, or not a message, a question for you. So I wanted to play that real quick, and then I've got some artwork to show you that fans did of you, which I think you're gonna dig.
Oh man!
So check this out.
What's up, Jason? What's up, Craig? I got a few questions. Craig, you're very funny. Caught some shows at the Comedy Store a little over a year ago. I saw you open up, or no, actually you were hosting for a show Chris was headlining. Caught a bunch of your stuff online recently. It's awesome to see you growing as a comic, doing headlining clubs, doing your own shows, so that's really cool to see. My questions would be, obviously Chris has helped you out with your career, getting you in front of big crowds and helping to support you and believing in you. I guess the first question would be, how did you meet Chris? How did you build that relationship with him? And then two, your approach to comedy's one that I appreciate. I would like to grow as a comedian myself. I'm doing open mics and I like to tell stories. So my question is, when you were writing, what is your process? Are you the type to write it down long form, or do you work out bits on stage? Do you come up with a funny story, a good premise, and then just elaborate and build over time on that? And then that's the first part of that question. And then I guess second part of that question would be, how do you punch it up? How do you take something that's already got a good, funny premise to it, and how do you sprinkle those little punchlines throughout it? What's your approach there? So those would be my three questions, 3-part Q&A there. Man, appreciate you, Craig. Awesome, can't wait to catch a show. Jason, can't wait to catch up with you, bud. Appreciate you guys. Take care. Talk to you soon. Later, Jason. Later, Craig.
This is actually fun to answer, and I hope to. Are you posting this on YouTube?
It'll be on everything, basically.
Everything good, because so many people ask me all these questions, and I'm just like, I can't. It's. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I can't answer every one of you motherfuckers. It's just overwhelming and it's exhausting. So now I can just send you this YouTube clip. All right, how did I get friends with Chris D'Elia? Well, first of all, Michael Lenoci, God, I love you and thank you. But on top of that, how do you become friends with anybody in this business? It's just you be a kind, decent, normal person, and it happens organically over time. There's no shortcuts to becoming friends with anybody. Like, even if Michael introduced me to Chris, if he doesn't like me, he doesn't like me. It just happens naturally. It happens over time. It's like, okay, and also too, fly on the wall type shit.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a long, hard road, and some people come in and they click up with everybody instantly. Dude, it took me like 1 to 2 years for people to say hi to me. It took me like 6 years to then have the famous fucks, as I always call them, know my name. Like, it doesn't just it took 6 years, years, not days, fucking years. But with that being said, what day is today? Okay, so Tuesday night, I'm at the Comedy Store hanging out. I drive there with Chris D'Elia. He gives me career advice, which is magical. I'm hanging out getting coffee with Chris, but that's like normal to me now because he's just one of my best friends that I love so much, and he helps me out with the decision I had to make for my career. And I'm emotional just because I'm at a point to where I can make that decisions about my career, and I had to turn something down, which is hard to do when you don't have shit to turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got one thing in the pipeline, and you got to turn down that one thing. It's emotional, dude. It's just like, I'm not him. He's different. Anyways, he buys me coffee, gives me advice, drives me to the Comedy Store. Now I'm at the Comedy Store hanging with Chris. And then in the hallway, it's Anthony. Anthony goes, hey, what's up, Craig? Jesselnick, like what I'm saying, I hate name droppers, but I'm saying this because that took 6-7 years, and now I'm in the back bar, and I know Joe Rogan, but I like he knows my face, you know.
Yeah.
But now I'm in the back bar, private headliners, or past paid regulars only. I'm not even past at the Comedy Store, and then but I'm friends with Laura Bites, who's friends with Joe Rogan. I'm friends with Chappelle Lacey, who's friends with Joe Rogan, and then he invites me to sit down at the table with him. And that shit made me want to cry too. I was like, whoa, I'm sitting at, and now I'm nervous. And I'm like, and I'm not even talking. I'm just like, And he probably thought, who is this fucking weird? No, but he knows I opened for Chris, and he knows of me. You know, I still don't even know if he knows my name. I imagine he probably does. But that's like, it took years and years and years and years. And if I were to come up to him and be like, hey, Joe Rogan, I'm Craig Conant, I'm in a stand-up, he would hate me. He would hate me. That's literally me being a fly on the wall for fucking 6 years. You know, that's what it takes. I know I name drop a lot, but that's like how it happens organically.
It helps
to where like, oh, this guy is really, first of all, people come in and out of comedy like crazy. So like, oh, he's in it. First of all, he's in it. He's a comic.
Yeah.
Oh, second of all, oh, he opens for him. He's on these shows. He's funny. You know? All right. The stand-up is kind of like the mafia. It's like you have to be funny. It's like, is he a rat? Does he do crime? It's like, is he funny? Does he work? Okay, all right. And then, I forgot, when I got out of the car with Chris, fucking Joey Diaz is there. Joey Diaz is my favorite comic on this fucking planet. I love that motherfucker. I doubt he knows my name, but he knows me, and he's friendly to me. He go, hey, what's up, Tarzan? And he gives, he's got that Cuban Italian vibe, and it just made me laugh. I was like, I fucking love you, dude. And that took years and years and years and years. So don't expect that shit to happen. And also, it could happen overnight. You could meet Steve Byrne, and boom, you're clicked in. For me, I'm an introvert, outtrovert, extrovert, whatever the fuck you call it. I'm both. Like if I'm around Joe Rogan, I'm gonna be a little quiet. I'm like, now I was quiet around Chris for years, but now I've been friends with him for like 4 or 5 years. So now I'm like, I tickled him at dinner, like, hey, take it, just because I now built that relationship. If I did that out the gate, are you fucking kidding me? He punched me in my face. Get this fucking kid out of here, So it's just time.
Yeah.
And my writing process, and everybody's process is different. Jerry Seinfeld will write every single thing out verbatim and transcribe it and trim the fat and execute it like a goddamn surgeon. Bill Burr, when I was on a show with him and I was hosting, emceeing, and then I was like, okay, he was getting ready to film his special. It was 3 specials ago. And I was like, I got to pick his brain a little bit. I got fucking Bill Burr in the green room one-on-one. And I was just like, and I knew he was running his hour for his Netflix special. I knew that. So I was like, hey, when you're running your hour and you're going room to room to room, do you like audio record it? Like, what do you do? And he said some words of wisdom. In his Bill Burr, he's like, no, man, fuck that, And he's like, when you're telling a story to your buddies about getting arrested, like, do you have notes? Do you write? No, he's like, no, you know the gist of it. You know what happened. You know the funny bits and parts. And you just tell that shit naturally and organically. Completely different spectrums from like the Seinfeld way. And I've heard fools of like highlighting their punchlines, like transcribing their set, highlighting their punchlines, and trying to make it only highlighted shit. I've heard that trick. For me, I'll just literally write cousin's vagina, go on stage, riff about my cousin's shit, and then my process is writing on stage, riffing, and it'll trim down. Okay, I farted on my manager, I got fired. That kind of writes itself. That's already hilarious. I'll just literally wrote farted on my manager. And then I go up and I write on stage. But I also have built, I'm at a place in my career where I get a lot of stage time in front of real audiences, and I don't have to do open mics anymore. Because open mics almost can be a detriment to you. If you're doing shitty open mics in Los Angeles, if you're doing good open mics, obviously that's a real show then. But like, if you're doing good material in front of a shitty open mic, they still won't laugh. And you'll maybe think that won't work, or even will start to hate it. But that's just the environment, You could do a gold joke in front of an open mic, and they could not be listening. So
Yeah.
it's just like it's what best suits you. Do you want to write a bullet point or a premise and then go on stage and riff about it naturally, organically? That's my style. That's Bill Burr's style. A lot of people's style. Or do you want to transcribe it and write that shit out? Anthony Jeselnik does that. I'll see him. He'll shoot his special and then go right back to the workshop. Boom, he's back on a show. And he starts out with 15 minutes and builds. And he might even bomb. This is Anthony fucking Jeselnik, you know? He'll bomb. But this is after taping a special and retiring an hour of gold, you know? Yeah. And then he'll just build. And then, okay, he'll come back the next week. He'll expand. And he'll expand. And he'll expand. And you're just like, God damn. That's so cool just to have the balls to be that famous and go up with a little kernel of an idea and then kind of bomb, kind of do well, and then come back the next week and be like, okay, boom, it's bigger now. Oh, it's big. Oh, now it's crushing. Joe Rogan's the same way. He'll shoot a special, start out from scratch with fucking nothing, a little shit fart of an idea, bomb, eat shit, and then the next week comes back. All right, he's getting some laughs, and the next week comes back, or next night, not even next week. And he comes back, and then all of a sudden in a month, it's this undeniable monster bit. And you're like, I saw you build that from nothing. Keep in mind, he's also Joe Rogan. He can get stage time anytime, anywhere, any place on this fucking planet. It's not that easy for us at this point in time. You know, you got you're just in the trenches until you're not in the trenches anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like a little bit out of the trenches, but I don't sell tickets. I'm still in the trenches a little bit, you know. That's why I'm sitting in my 15-year-old Camry with the expensive fucking earbuds here. Yeah, the free ones. These are the free ones.
I wear the same ones. They're not free, man. You still got to buy that phone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No, I totally hear you, man. And thank you so much for being. I mean, it's so cool to be able to talk to you about this in a real, honest, open way because. I think it's really, for me, it's refreshing. And you know what? I don't know whoever's going to hear my podcast on this. If, you know, a lot of my fans are really into, you know, the oil painters and sculptors, the people that design the characters for Marvel.
Well, tell them to stop being pussies and go do stand. I'm just kidding.
No, but like for me, like, because my podcast is all about talking with artists, and like I consider stand-up comedians artists for sure. It's a complete art form. So I really appreciate you taking the time to to just be honest about it and share. I mean, for me, it's awesome. So if I feel just super pumped just by hearing your perspective on it. It's awesome to hear that. It's really cool.
You just inspired me to say one more thing, because what you said at the beginning of this podcast, you said you have people who hired you to do art. Yeah. Telling you how to do art. And it's like, hey, motherfucker, I'm the artist. Yeah. Like, let me do the art. Okay. Like, yeah, that's the reason you're corporate. You stay over there. I'll stay over here. I'll do the shit. It's going to be dope. Yeah. There's a reason you hired me. One of the things I was asking Chris about, and he gave me advice, is I had an offer about like doing something, but I would have to be clean and like change. And then, but I would make a decent chunk of change, you know, more my biggest payday ever to this date, you know. And I had to turn it down because I'm like, that's not me, you know. I'm going to have to, my first presentation of my art, you know, on a platform would not be me, and I had to stay true to myself. And that was a fucking hard decision to make, because like I said, when you don't have shit and you're turning down shit, you're like, fuck, that was money. Like, that was financial freedom for one. It wasn't a like huge payday, but it was like, okay, I'm financially free for 1 year of my life, you know. Because I'm a baller on a budget, dude. I don't think I've ever made more than 30 grand in a year, dude. I've been a fucking loser my whole life. Yeah. Not really changing. Anyways, so that's like, I don't know how I got started talking about that. Oh, just like, the corporate entities or industry people or whatever, just telling you how to do you. It's like, be careful with that. One of the reasons Joey Diaz is my all-time favorite is because he's Joey fucking Diaz. He's Uncle Joey. Nothing.
Yeah.
He said whatever the fuck he wants. Hey, fucking get your dick sucked, motherfucker. You know, like, and he's getting commercials. He's getting TV work. He's getting specials, and he's popping because he's him. Yep. And I didn't want to sell out. I wasn't going to completely sell out. I just had to be clean. I was going to do my material, but I was going to change it. I was going to alter it. and do it, and which is not me. You know, it's like I want to say it how I want to say it.
That's integrity, man. I think that's important with every kind of art, because you don't want to, be basically the guy, like even in the art world, like be the guy that's like, oh, you're the guy that draws these like little teeny simple cartoons when, and no offense against people who do that, but then when you actually do this other art form, that's what you really are passionate about. But now you're not doing that because now you found this thing where you're making money doing this other thing, and then you're just gonna hate yourself. You're not gonna, and it happens, I think, with every art form.
Yeah. Also, too, I mean, if you got to feed your fucking family and buy a house, I get it, man. Like, I'm not saying fuck you fucking sell out. It's okay. I'm just saying, for me at this point in my life, I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. I don't need to do that yet. Yeah. I can still eat canned tuna out of my car. But if I had the kids and the wife, I probably would have fucking done it, Yeah. Like, it's like,
I
gotta pay the bills. I gotta provide, So don't, like everything, to what best suits you at your point in your life and your career. For this particular moment, I had to say no. It was very hard because it's like, hey, here's the one thing we got for you. You want it? No. Oh, fuck.
It's awesome though. Well, it's awesome though that you have, people like that you can talk to about it and get good advice, Yeah. Because, there's a lot of, sorry, this cord's being weird. There's a lot of people probably out there that just, don't have that. Would have just jumped on it and then, kind of. But it's good. It's weird too, like how how certain things come. I was gonna say this before, but how certain things like line up certain ways in your life. And it's almost like guiding you in a certain direction and you don't even realize it, or like just even the fact that like this whole podcast that I do, I started a year ago, and I think you're like episode 58 or something like that, or 59. No, I think you're 60 actually. But I love listening to podcasts. I love listening to comedians podcasts mostly. It's what I love, and I love listening to them tell stories and everything else, and it gets me through my day when I'm working on my illustration work. And I love to talk with artists and different people. One day I'm like, what, I should do a podcast. I got enough people following my art and everything. And so I was like, I'm just gonna fucking do it. I know tons of artists, musicians, and all kinds of people, and I just started doing it. But like, if you would have, and I had no idea, I just but went full speed ahead. I did a podcast every single week. I'm just gonna commit to it and do it. And before you knew it, like by the end of the year, if you told me I was going to have Steve Byrne on and Kevin Nealon and then now, and you and Jeremiah and all these different comedians that I really like, and then also like amazing oil painters and sculptors and just people that worked on the Marvel movies and everything, all these kind of things, and then getting this opportunity to do fucking stand up in front of Steve Byrne, I would have been like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah,
but
it's crazy.
If I didn't start the podcast, none of that would have happened. And now I'm actually going to open mics and writing, and it's made me into a different person in less than a year. You know what I mean?
It's because it came from a labor of love. It came from an organic, real place. And same shit with you, like Kevin Nealon, Steve Byrne, Marvel art. Like when I started doing open mics at fucking cigar shops and bodegas and laundromats. Fucking, you name it. I did a quinceañera show. Like nobody was listening. Like 2 nights ago, I hang out with Chris D'Elia when I first got in the game. But it was like, I was like, whoa! Now I could call him. It's weird. It's fucking weird. Last night I was on a show at the Laugh Factory with Nick Swartzen, Brian Callen, Eric Griffin, Ken Jeong, Amir K. Like these are all people I look up to, and now I'm on the same show as them. It's the night before I was hanging out with Joe Rogan and my friends, the up and comers and the fucking gangster, and like if you would have told me that when I was performing to a blender, and I'm not even fucking kidding, how many times I've been heckled by I've been heckled by a blender at least 40 times in my life.
Oh my god,
maybe more. from blenders to fucking Joey Diaz, like you can't make this shit to turning down an offer. I'm just kidding.
That's the name of your
like,
first special right there. From blenders to Joey Diaz.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like you don't think, yeah, it took years, but who gives a fuck? What else you doing? You fucking whacking it in your mom's basement? Go get something, bitch.
Yeah. And that's what's awesome, man. Like bringing it back to what you said earlier is that, you know, you're going to die one day, and you know what? Did you not do anything? Did you do anything? You know, you're dead. You're not going to know anyways. But why? You know, are you going to just waste your time? You know?
Yeah.
That's the way that I look at it, man. Like as much as possible, just do as much as you can. You know, to not be a lame ass.
And I'm telling you, I mean, I try not to be preachy, but I'm fucking living proof, dude. I was a loser living at home with my mother, stealing her face lotion to jack off on Molly at noon on a fucking Tuesday while drinking dilaudid liquid morphine, Oxycontin, you fucking name it, baby.
Yeah.
Clogged my urethra up. I was spray pissing. I was an embarrassment to my family. I had no money. I didn't open my mail. I didn't put sheets on my fucking bed. I didn't wash my hands. I'd jack off. I'd get gray lotion right here. Now look at me, man. I'm fucking getting my dick sucked. No.
Right now, this whole time.
Right, yeah. Right now, look.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No. But like, I swear to God, a part of my whole podcast and stand up. I don't really do my sober stuff anymore, just because I've done it so much. But it is in my DNA, and it's like, yo, motherfuckers, I was damn near ready to check out of this world, and now I'm living my dream. I still am in a 15-year-old Camry, 4-cylinder. Don't want to brag, but I'm on my way. You know, like, and if you would have told me that when I was living with my mom, my grandma, my cousin with her 2 kids, my other cousin who was in and out of prison, the lady that took care of I was like, there was 7 or 8 Mexicans in a house in Lomita. If you'd have told me that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then,
that's awesome.
When I'm on Oxycontin and cocaine, be like, hey, and then 8-9 years, you're going to be sitting at a table with D'Elia and Rogan. I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
I'm with Fart King fucking Nick Swartzen last night.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I love that fool. He's so funny, dude.
That's awesome,
It's
man.
a trip. I went, as Biggie Smalls would say, ashy to classy, baby. I was fucking...
Ashy to class.
I wasn't like,
That's pretty funny.
I'm just saying, you always can turn it around.
Yeah.
I know people say that, and I don't want to sound corny and cheesy and all that shit, but
I think it needs to be said, man.
It needs to be said. If you look at my arrest record, I'm right here, baby.
Yeah.
Joey Diaz kidnapped a fucking guy.
Yeah.
He spent 6-7 years in prison. Look at him. He's a fucking millionaire now. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. He had to kidnap him. The guy was a bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Did you hear that whole story? He ended up inviting the guy to a show. It's amazing. It's amazing. The most amazing story.
See, all this gives you material, though. Now you got like so much more material. And,
so my advice to you guys is go become a drug addict, live with your mother, and kidnap a guy, and you'll make it. Yeah. That is not what I'm saying. Do not do that. Do not do that.
And by the way, did you know I teach Sunday school? You know.
Catch me this week at church teaching the niños.
That's awesome. Cool, man. Hey, before we end this bad boy, there's some, like I told you before, there's some fan art. So I want to show you some fan art and see what you think about it. And I will email these to you as well. Let me flip the screen. Tell me if you see this. Let's see. Do you see this?
Oh, shit. That's amazing. Oh, my God. Yes, please send that to me.
This is
shit.
This is by Jack Lemonnier. I think he's
Jack
French.
Lemonnier. God bless you, sir. Man, I used to eat a lot of mushrooms. That's fantastic.
You know, it's really funny. You'll get a kick out of this too. Like the night that I did my Steve Byrne thing, I was really nervous, but I invited all my buddies, my friends, and my wife came, and none of them know my material or anything.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, him and his wife, met me at a restaurant just before, and I had a glass of wine, and he bought me dinner, and he's like, "You're gonna be great, man," and he goes like, "What? So what's your stuff about?" And I'm like, and he goes, "Oh, don't tell me." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not gonna tell you, dude. You're gonna see it in like 20 minutes or whatever." And then he goes, I just saw this one guy, and he was so hilarious, and he was talking about shrooms with his buddies and stuff, and I was like, "Is his name Craig?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's him." So it's like so weird, like all the weird connections like that.
Yeah.
Like it's like, so, and he goes, "He's really funny, man. He's like telling me about how awesome and hilarious you are," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, dude, but I'm about to go up right now, okay? For my first time."
Yeah, can I just go do this first? We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
that's so funny. That's so kind. Tell him thank you so much. So the guy that talked to you drew that?
Oh no. These are fans from all over. Yeah. Here's another one.
Oh man, I look terrible on that one.
This looks like you. You. But looking in the mirror when you're on shrooms.
Yeah, this is this. Thanks for making me look like Harry and the Hendersons, man. I look like a fucking Sasquatch.
This is
dope, though. Thank you so much.
This is by Hosian Reservoir.
Yeah,
who did that one?
I like it.
This is
whoa. I'm Mona Lisa? What's going on? I'm Picasso Mona Lisa. These are cool, dude.
Juan Carlos Melo did this one.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you will, but when you send them to me, credit the person because I'll post them and share it on my stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So thank you guys for drawing me.
And let's see here. Here's another.
Oh man.
This is by.
I look like sloth mixed with me and a woman.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah. Hey, Ruth, baby, Ruth. That's my favorite movie. That's a good one.
This is by Alehe Ayediani. I fucked that up.
We'll write it down.
This one's by Juan Gastelum.
Juan Gastelum? I look so sad.
Pearl Jam.
I got like a I don't know why I want to say like a David Finch inspired that one. I
can see that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not him, but it's like inspired. I feel it. Yeah.
This is by TJ Veith. He's actually the one that had the question for you.
Oh, cool, brother. Is that mushrooms in my hand?
Probably.
Fantastic. Nice.
So you can live vicariously through the drawing,
Fuck that. I'm going to relapse. I always say that joke and people are like, yeah. And they're like, no, don't. I'm like, it's a fucking joke. Come on.
It's cool. Oh, this is color pencil, by the way, which is pretty cool. This one is by Dominic Zeilinger.
That one makes me look Italian and older. Hey, Principessa.
You know what I love though is the hairline through the hat there. It's so spread open. Like it looks like you're completely bald up there with just a couple strands.
You could have filled that. Yeah, you could have filled that in a little more, buddy. Look how full it is down here. No, thank you.
That's funny.
That one looks like the real fucking photo.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I like the style on this one. This one's by Dwaylen Rainey. And I forget what it's little art room or something like that is his Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He actually, I'll send you these. Do you actually have? If it'd be better if you had an email, because I can email you.
Yeah.
I
have Google Drive, Dropbox, email, Gmail. I got all that shit.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
This is by Jason Williams.
That's a dope one. It looks like I'm just stand up on acid,
That's awesome. Stand up on acid. That's cool. This is a cool one.
Wow. That's chalk, right?
This is digital. This is by Christopher Hirschman. So I don't know. It could have been drawn like on an iPad or.
God, they're so good. All of these are
Yeah,
so
pretty
good.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's fun, man. Like every time I do this, I'm just as shocked as everybody else. I don't know who's gonna do what, or
Yeah.
This was the last one. This was actually sent in today. This is by Stacy Addison.
Cute little birdie.
Is that from a picture, or
Yeah.
did she make that up? Okay,
Yeah, that's the
okay.
picture.
That's funny. That's awesome. So yeah, man, I'll definitely send all these to you, and
Yeah, those are great, man.
yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That was like the funny thing was like when I was trying to come up with when I was doing this, come up with the idea for the podcast. I was just, I wanted to have something I could do that'd be extra fun for people, and I called it Face the Truth because Face the Truth was actually my business my business name I started like 20 something years ago when I was just getting started in art, and on the side I would get hired to go to people's parties and do live caricature drawings of people, and I called it Face the Truth,
Yeah.
And then 20 something years later when I did this, I'm like, oh, it'd be a good name for a podcast, and then I could have people do drawings of my guests and they could face the fucking truth,
Yeah. No,
or
I
get
love
or
it,
get
man.
scared,
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I know I already said that, but please give me their Instagram handle and full name, and I'll tag them and give them credit.
I'll do the best I can because like most of them only just send me their name, but I can send you their
Okay.
name and that.
All right, I'll at least put their name. So, yeah.
But yeah,
I just hate. One of my pet peeves is people post my shit and they don't even tag me, and I'm like, come on, at least give me credit, man. Like, this fucking
yeah,
helps,
exactly. No, that's awesome. But yeah, thanks again so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. Fun talk, dude. Totally awesome.
Yeah.
And before we split, is there anything that you want to share that's coming up, or anything people want to direct people towards? Merch or anything you got going on? Anything you want to direct people?
No, I'm just
No?
kidding. Yeah, no, just thank you so much for having me. I'm Craig Conant, Craig P. Conant on all social medias, and I got shows coming up. I forgot when they are, but just go to them, if you want to.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me, dude.
Yeah, thank you, man. And that was it.
Yeah.
Thanks for everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
You too, man.
You want answers? The truth shall set you free. I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.